Wow. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Exactly 1 year ago, I was leading the General Services Administration, tasked with driving AI adoption across the most complex enterprise in the world, the US federal government. Back then, the biggest hurdle was not a lack of vision or potential use cases. That was very obvious. The real bottleneck was this uncertainty loop, the continuous questions of, are these models safe? Can we put government data in them? What is this hallucination risk? We spent so much time obsessing over the guardrails, we were almost talking ourselves out of the future before we even started. Fast forward today. That hesitation has been obliterated. The if is gone. The should we has been replaced by a single urgent mandate. How fast can we go? I joined C3 because the mission has shifted from navigating uncertainty to delivering economic results. We're not here to debate the technology. We're here to help the most important organizations master AI at scale. The pace of change is not just fast, it is staggering. We like to say the innovation over the last 6 months has been faster than the last 30 years. Just look at viral projects like Claudebot. In a matter of weeks, independent developers are building agents that can plan, reason, and execute complex work continuously. Let me just see with a show of hands. How many people have bought a Mac Mini in the last 30 days? Okay. This is extraordinary. Look around. For the first time in human history, you can buy supercomputer-level capabilities for a few $100, download a world-class model, and be running and building agents that can run 24 hours a day. The barrier to entry has been completely demolished. It is extraordinary. But it also raises a very sobering question. Do you want something that can be rapidly engineered, managing your global food supply, or supporting your power grid, or overseeing the global defense logistics network? The speed is real, the power is real. But for the leaders in this room, the responsibility is also very real. There's a massive gulf between that's a cool demo and that's a mission-critical system. At C3 AI, we're building the bedrock of the modern enterprise. It's easy to feel like the world just changed overnight with LLMs. But the fact is, the future was predicted over 50 years ago. In 1968, long before we had the compute to make this a reality, Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey introduced the world to HAL 9000. For the very first time, we didn't just see a computer that calculated. We saw a computer that communicated. HAL spoke, HAL reasoned. HAL was a fully sentient, infallible AI system. Kubrick gave us a machine that could interact with his environment and reason through the mission. He showed us a future we're only now beginning to realize. Watch this. I think we all know how that ended. This is the scene that provides the ultimate reality check. For decades, the narrative around AI has been trying to build the infallible machine. Kubrick showed us the truth. HAL malfunctioned. It wasn't sentient. It was a system that made a catastrophic mistake. The astronauts didn't lose control over HAL because it was too smart. They lost control over HAL because it had operational authority without an override. It had intelligence without the enterprise guardrails required to catch a failure before it became fatal. That is the exact distinction that matters to us here today. Large language models are astonishingly fluent. They can describe the world beautifully and reason through problems. But remember, fluency is not functionality. Just as HAL malfunctioned, today's models do hallucinate. When a chatbot makes a mistake, it becomes a social media joke. But when a system managing your most critical operations malfunctions, it can be catastrophic. Autonomy without a governed architecture is not innovation. It is a massive risk to your enterprise. At C3 AI, we are not building how. We're building an enterprise future that is real-time, safe, and adaptable. Think about a supply chain of the past. It was static, reactive. It was calibrated to look in the rearview mirror based on historical data. That system would tell you there was a problem after it occurred. In the future, the one we're delivering today, your supply chain doesn't just report a delay. It anticipates disruption. It automatically reroutes logistics and recalibrates production schedules, all before your management team has finished their first cup of morning coffee. This is not science fiction. This is what happens when AI is woven into the operational fabric of your enterprise. It is the power to act with precision and authority inside the unbreakable guardrails of your policy. We are moving away from an era of software that records and into an era of systems that act. Let me give you an example and make this concrete. Imagine you're responsible for 17 massive machine shops, building some of the most complex components for a nuclear submarine. Every morning, you're hit with a barrage of critical decisions and questions. What do I build first? In what exact sequence? Which materials are actually available on the floor? Which specialized machinist is available for a specific shift? You're making these choices while suppliers are shifting, while schedules compress, and while quality control tightens down to the millimeter. How is this handled today in some of the largest shipyards in the world? It's teams of people in a Friday war room. It's a spreadsheet projected on a wall. It's hours of institutional knowledge and arguments over which priority takes precedence. I'm kind of looking, I see some heads nodding, so you guys know this. By the time they actually finally agree on a plan, the data is already 48 hours old. Then it takes weeks just to re-baseline the schedule. In that gap, in this manual thrash, the small delays don't just add up. They can compound into years. Now let's go zoom in down to the individual on the machine shop floor. Let's think about what this looks like for the actual supervisor that shows up to work at Tuesday at 6 a.m. In the old world, they'd start with a blank whiteboard and a massive headache. In the new world, they walk in, they log the morning's reality. 3 machinists called in sick. 5 work packages are delayed. 1 critical machine just threw an error code. In the past, that supervisor would spend their entire day on the phone chasing parts and people. Today, that system re-optimizes the entire shipyard's logic in seconds, providing a solution path. It says, here are the exact downstream impacts to today's submarine or aircraft carrier build. Here are the optimized alternatives to keep the line moving. And here's the projected recovery path the moment staffing normalizes. This is how we protect the build. This is how we recover the schedule. And this is how we control the cost. When the human remains fully accountable and no longer drowning in the data, the system is able to orchestrate across complex programs and decision-making so that leaders can make the trade-offs on purpose and not by accident. So I want to address the obvious question in the room, the one that every board member is asking right now. Can't an OpenAI just do this? Can't you just vibe code this with Claude? What about Gemini? Grok? Some of these open source models? Let me be clear. What these companies have built is truly, truly extraordinary. They are geniuses at language and reasoning. If you want to summarize a 10-page memo, automate your support tickets, or write the entire code base for a website over a weekend, these are the gold standards. They have turned the act of building software into a conversation. But managing your global supply chain or your critical infrastructure is not a language problem. Predicting the failure of a subsea valve 5,000 feet below the ocean surface is not a prompt problem. You cannot vibe code a power grid into stability. These aren't just conversations. These are massive, multidimensional physics and logistic puzzles that require deterministic accuracy. There's one other critical distinction: commitment. While some of these general purpose labs are debating their own philosophies, with some of them even pulling back from the essential work of national defense, C3.ai is leaning in. We believe that securing our critical infrastructure and our national security is not a wait-and-see experiment. It's a mission-critical mandate. An LLM can describe the world beautifully. It can tell you what a supply chain looks like, but it cannot manage it, and it certainly will not govern it. So while these labs provide the general purpose knowledge that, honestly, we all enjoy, we, C3, provide the domain-specific backbone and applications to operationalize it. So how do you actually do this at scale? It requires 5 things. Deep data integration goes well beyond surface-level APIs. Domain-specific ontologies that actually understands your business logic and actually captures the human capital expertise, the most valuable information in your enterprise. Embedded prediction and optimization models that use real-time data to anticipate future outcomes and optimize decision-making in real time. The governed agentic execution layer so that your systems can act within your rules. And finally, the dynamic interaction layer that puts all the power in the hands of your frontline workers. This is exactly what we have built. We did not pivot into AI a year ago. We've been layering the foundation in anticipation for this exact moment in time. That deep domain expertise you care about, we built that in. The mission-critical workflows your business runs on, we built those in. And finally, the predictive algorithms that can actually capture billion-dollar value, we built those in too. We have built a system for high accuracy, high security, and high trust. A system designed to survive the reality of a nuclear shipyard, the scale of a global supply chain, and the complexity of a global power grid. Because at the end of the day, when your business and the mission are on the line, you need an industrial-grade partner by your side that has done this before. Now let me tie all this together. Let's go back to the oil fields, the food production plant, the steel mill, the national lab, the semiconductor manufacturer, the shipyard, to see how this framework actually lives and breathes. To optimize the production schedule for a nuclear submarine, just for the next 7 days, requires you to reconcile a mountain of data. You got SAP production data, inventory systems, Primavera master schedules, real-time supplier feeds, workforce management, quality systems, calibration logs, and an uncountable number of spreadsheets and CSVs. You guys know this problem. All these systems do not talk to one another. They're not interoperable. They sit in the silos. This has been a huge, huge problem. At C3.ai, we don't just connect this data. We unify them into a cohesive enterprise ontology. Think of it as the actual digital twin of your enterprise. Rather than just storing the data, we understand the relationships. We understand which specific component feeds which sub-assembly. Which supplier delay will impact a milestone 6 months from now. We know which workforce constraint will bottleneck your final output. So when the morning reality hits, when that master welder doesn't show up to work, or the quality of the raw materials doesn't pass inspection, the system goes beyond just sending an alert. It re-optimizes. You want your AI agents doing the heavy lifting of orchestration so your humans remain on the loop, providing the command and control, and not stuck in the loop trying to find the data. Now let's prove it. Let's talk about the single metric that matters most to the people in this room: economic value. We're moving well past pilot purgatory and proof of concepts. Today, our customers are proving that AI-led transformation is more than just a technology upgrade. It's the highest ROI initiative in your enterprise. When you stop chatting with your data and start orchestrating your operations, the economic impacts shift from incremental to monumental. This is not about efficiency. It's about economic certainty in an uncertain world. Let me show you what this looks like across 3 of the most challenging environments in the world. At GSK, one of the largest biopharma companies in the world, enterprise AI has become a foundational operating system. By standardizing on the C3 agentic AI platform, they're embedding governed autonomy across the global manufacturing process. This ensures that 120 million patients receive uninterrupted supply of life-saving therapy. How? By anticipating market demand and predicting system failures before they compromise drug supply. At GSK, AI is not a science project. It is a safeguard against human life. Dow uses C3 Asset Performance Suite to improve the asset utilization across 6 worldwide steam cracking facilities. They use 600 machine learning models monitoring over 12,000 sensors in real time to predict equipment failures. This reduces downtime, improves reliability across their most critical assets. The result? Safer operations, stronger performance, real-time business value at scale. This is enterprise AI in action. And we're partnering with the nation's largest military shipbuilder, HII, to revitalize the maritime industrial base. Together, we're embarking on a journey to apply AI to complex planning and labor allocation with the ultimate goal to accelerate shipbuilding throughput. This is not about cost reduction. It's about turning fragmented data into fleet readiness. We share an ambitious goal together to translate plans into production and production into delivered ships, not leaving critical decisions buried in disconnected spreadsheets. Over the next 48 hours, we're going to be moving from vision to velocity. You aren't just going to hear about you're not just going to hear about AI. You're going to be seeing exactly how it's being operationalized inside the world's most complex and mission-critical environments. We have a packed agenda to give you the blueprint. On the mission, General John Hayden and Master Sergeant Will Haskell will explore how we move from data overload to real-time decision advantage at the front line. On the architecture, Nikhil Christian will pull back the curtain on the C3 AI product roadmap, showing how to move faster to deliver measurable economic impact. On the strategy, Jim Snabe will challenge the leaders in this room to rethink their own role in an AI-driven era, anchoring every investment in real business value. On government, Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the CIO of the Department of Health and Human Services, Clark Minor, will discuss the vital work of reshaping decision-making processes at the highest levels of government. And at the operational core, you'll hear from the leaders who are living this every single day. Deborah Bowler at Dow, Marianne Milicevic, and Jorge Gamara at Wholesome will share how they're embedding AI to strengthen resilience and drive the massive economic outcomes that we're talking about today. And to bring that shipyard story to life, we have leaders from HII, Newport News Shipbuilding, the Maritime Industrial Base, and C-SPAN, who will explore exactly how AI is modernizing the planning, production, and readiness across critical maritime infrastructure. Every session for the next few days will focus on one thing: impact. How intelligent systems are predicting risk, how they are shaping decisions, how they're executing work, and how they scale across the enterprise. Throughout this program, in the marketplace, in the breakout sessions right next door, you'll have an opportunity to engage directly with the technology itself. Because in this new era of AI, the ultimate advantage will not be those who are experimenting first. It'll be those who are executing best. The leaders behind these stories are sitting right here in this room. We have hundreds of attendees from the world's most important organizations, not just to talk about AI, but how to move the conversation from the pilot phase to the global scale. I invite you all to challenge our roadmap, learn from the veterans on the stage, pressure test our product to see how it fits your needs. As we look forward, our goal at C3 is simple. We want to be your trusted partner in mastering AI at scale. To do that, we provide a foundation anchored on 4 pillars that no one else provides. First, instant access to the cutting edge. We're model agnostic. Whether it's the elite coding intelligence of Claude Opus, or the massive context windows of Gemini 3, or the advanced reasoning of GPT-5, you don't have to pick a winner. We built that resilience in. When the labs release a breakthrough feature on a Friday afternoon, you get it live in your environment on Monday. Industrial grade safety, we take all the raw general purpose power and wrap it in this C3 agentic AI platform. We provide the governance, the data lineage, the machine learning models, the deterministic ontologies required to operationalize this technology within your organization. Third, the domain-specific applications. We're taking our domain expertise in mission-critical operations and applications and putting it directly in your hands. We're starting with proven applications designed for the entire business value chain, so you can get started fast. And finally, the most important metric, proven economic value. We're here to end the era of pilot purgatory. We deliver measurable economic impacts that move the needles for your shareholders and empowers your employees. C3 provides the intelligence, the integrity, the insight, and the impact today out of the box. And one more thing. We know in this new era, the most valuable currency is velocity. I want you to imagine a world where the most complex optimization models, the most intricate enterprise workflows, and the most robust industrial applications can be built with natural language and domain expertise without sacrificing an ounce of security or governance. Today, we're announcing a new capability that changes the math of enterprise application development forever. We call it C3 Code. C3 Code is the convergence of everything we have built. We've taken the entire technology stack and wrapped it in a revolutionary agentic coding environment. For the very first time, you can leverage a single prompt combined with your own domain expertise to build enterprise AI applications. This isn't vibe coding over the weekend. This is leveraging the entire foundation of C3 AI to build mission-critical systems 10 to 100x faster than before. We're already using it internally. It is, without exaggeration, the most exciting thing I've seen in my career in technology. I kind of mentioned this. The pace of innovation in the last 6 months far outstrips the last 30 years. We are putting this power in your hands in the coming months, but you can get your hands on it today and test it out in these breakout sessions. I encourage all of you to try it. C3 Code is a new paradigm for how enterprises get built. It is the moment where the distance between a mission-critical idea and a mission-critical application finally becomes zero. The if is gone, the how is here. Welcome to the future of the enterprise. Welcome to C3 AI. Thank you.